Hi, Queen Anne here, and this is the very, very, very long overdue Q&A. Like last year, beginning of this year, I made several posts with the question, do you have any questions for me? And if you have them, I will answer them in a Q&A video. But as some of you might know, my dad got really sick, and he unfortunately passed in January this year. So I have the questions, but I didn't have the time or mental state to actually make the video. So after like months, I'm hicking up against it. But we're gonna do it today. So here we are. I have the questions. We can do this together. So I will ask the question and then I will answer it and then we will have fun. And if you have any more questions, you can send them in the comments and I will answer them in text. So, first question van Floortje. Why did you come up with the idea of Rincon? Well, I came up with it because I'm actually, before Rincon, I have ADHD and I'm a neurodivergent and I have some trouble socially keeping things together. I mean, I can interact pretty okay, socially wise, but to like keep it long term and have friends where you can just share things, that's difficult for me. And I only had one really good friend of mine. She always comes to everything I organize. She's a lovely person, so shout out to Mirte. But I felt a bit lonely. I felt a bit lonely that I couldn't share the creative things, like the out of the box things with somebody. And I also started up Spelotheek, which is like a toy library for kids here in Beuningen. Check them out, spelosaurus.nl. I started that, I raised that up, and it's now in very capable hands of a board of directions there. That was the first step, but because I had a young daughter. But it turned out that the mothers there were like normal mothers. Like, they don't play D&D, they don't play Zelda. So everything I wanted to talk about, just like the crickets in the air. So I really started Rincon to have a more safe space, have a more connected group of people, so I can just go up to somebody and start a random conversation about something weird. Why dragons have I don't know, why blue dragons spit red fire, and it will flow, the conversation will flow. So I really missed my village, so that's why I started Rincon. Next question from Floortje. Again, how many volunteers are working for you? Well, that's working is a bit of a statement I don't really like, because I think I try to be a family. I also do for my volunteers like well, not parties, but like in small events. Like I ask them over to my home to play board games. I cook for them. I do at my with my caravan on the camping. I ask them to come. We do a barbecue. So I really like to connect it together and feel like part of a real team. So yeah, but how many? Well, I think the current number is up to like I think 70, so 70, which is amazing. I never thought I would get so many volunteers. We can always use more. So if you're thinking, yeah, I want to be part of the team, sign up. Of course, not all volunteers are able to come at every Rincon. So it's like the 70 is like the entire group, and then if people come from there on one Rincon and on another day they can't, of course. And it's really fun. It's really fun, and I love my volunteers, because without them, although I call them knights, because again that sounds way cooler. I'm a knight for Rincon. Sounds way better than, yeah, I do volunteer work for Rincon. Come on. So, but yeah, I love them. So shout out to the volunteers as well, to the knights of Rincon, the pillars of nobility and strength. Last question from Floortje. What is your favorite D&D character? Ooh, well, I always play a paladin. I also use paladin politics as a actual term to describe my vision on how you should work together. I have a really big sense of righteousness, and I want, I like the paladin. I like the white shiny armor and the big shiny sword and the holy smites, and I really like that. So usually I play a paladin, and usually I play either like a blonde-haired, buffed, charismatic man, or I play a Lionel, which is the D&D class, sort of a hybrid lion thing, which is really cool. So yeah, I love the paladin. I love the white armor style, and if I ever get into the crafting, I really like to make like a real paladin armor. I think that's so cool. So I usually play a paladin. I think that's really epic. Okay, new questions from Hero. What would be your absolute dream future for Rincon? And related to that, who would be your dream guest and a dream session? Well, a lot of dreams here. Well, my absolute dream future for Rincon, I would like to have my own building. And I want it to be D20 shaped. I don't know if that's possible architecturally. But I liked my own building. I would like my own building so I can make it exactly how I want it. So we can have like multiple small rooms where you have like one D&D session in one room with like 20 rooms, so we can host 20 sessions on one floor, and have multiple workshop rooms, and have a big spacious vendor hall. We have a launch area for the volunteers, and we have a nice outside area where the food trucks are, and etc. But that's dreaming really big, because this is gonna cost like millions. The less big would be to find a location that is slightly more accessible, but still have the same requirements as we do at the MFA. So like not too big, separate rooms for everything, and or maybe like really good buses that like leave from every city. That would also be really cool. Like a bus goes from Amsterdam and from Rotterdam and from Den Haag and from Utrecht and from Den Bosch. And then the buses like collectively, and don't forget the northern part, I think it's north, like Groningen, Leeuwarden, and then we have like the buses coming to Rincon. That would be really cool. My dream guest, yeah, come on, that's gonna be Neil Niebon. I mean, come on! Like, Asterion is epically cool, and Neil himself is really cool as well, and he's such a pro LGBTQ supporter, and he is such a nice guy, and he's amazing. So yeah, so anybody who knows Neil Niebon watching now, we would love to have him as a guest. But, small chance, but you never know. And my dream session, well, if he's there, I want to do a session with Neil, because yeah, he's already on the con, so let's do that. That's it. Next question from Wies. What aspect do you find most fun or challenging about organizing Rincon? Well, that's two opposites here, Wies. The most fun is actual planning of Rincon. So, like, I mean, it's a really big task to like select vendors, but to like put the pieces together, right? So you have this epic group of vendors, and then I'm working on the event schedule, and I'm just seeing it grow and be bigger and be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be so cool. So that's really one of the fun things. And the con itself, it never ceases to amaze me that I stand there to do an opening talk, and there's like a line of 100 people waiting to come in. That's such a euphoric feeling, such a feeling of accomplishment and love, that there's like so many people that want to come to something I organize. That never gets old. That never gets old. That's the best part. And the most challenging, well, as some of you might know, I organize it mostly by myself. I have several other teams which I discuss with to make sure my ideas are good ideas, and to fine tune other ideas, and have help to get other things done. The most challenging is therefore making the time to actually do everything. And there's like a few things that cost a lot of time. For example, the vendors. I could have just said, first come, first serve, and then we're full. That's so much easier, but I don't want that. But that is challenging. Looking at the 130 signups and just choosing 80. Same with like the GMs, and making sure like schedule wise everything fits. That's one of the most challenging things. As well as the last week of Rincon, because the last week of Rincon is really stressful, because everybody thinks Rincon is like 3 days: Friday setup, Saturday con, and Sunday breakdown. But no, it's a week con for me. I start on Monday before Rincon. I start with hauling shit to it MFH. I start with setting up certain things. I start beginning of the week. I start to cook, etc. But that week is really challenging, because I had to do a lot of things. I had to set up a lot of things, but also keep an eye on the computer, because people can get sick. So people will like cancel their like session, and then I have to fix it again. Like, okay, person A canceled because they are sick. I have to like respond with like, oh my God, I'm sorry, because genuinely you don't want somebody to be sick. But then I have a hole to fill, and I have to make the contact and call people and fix that. So that's like a super bizarre, crazy week. That's really challenging. So that's the challenging part. Okay, next questions. From Digitaal and Analoog. If the D's in D&D stood for something else, what would it be? Dangerous and dumb? Because those make the best sessions. I am a player and a GM. The best sessions are when you are in a dangerous situation and you gotta do dumb shit. That's the best, because shit is gonna happen, and it's not the way you expect to, either as a player or as a GM. I had so many encounters which was like, what are you doing? And it turned out to be so much fun. One of my earlier sessions with my campaign group, I had this really a big bad evil person. It was not the big bad person themselves, but like a minion, but a really good strong minion. And I made this like crazy fight, like it's in the 3rd layer of a cave, and there's like lava everywhere, and she is like half zombie, and it's epic. And I set the scene, and then one of my players says, "I'm gonna shove her in the lava," and I'm like, "You're gonna do what?" And like the big epic fight I had in mind didn't went as I think it should have went. They just pushed her in the lava, and I mean, come on, in the lava, what should I do? Like, not get her hit? So of course she got hit, but yeah, she's undead, so I made her come back as a skeleton, and they push her in again, and with themselves, so they throw themselves in the lava as well, and it was chaos, but it was such a fun time. So dangerous and dumb, that's the best description. That's gonna be fun. Okay, from Robin. What motivates you to make Rincon the amazing inclusive space it is? Well, that's a bit of the same, the first question. I really was looking for a village to fit in, and I never fitted in. It's like my entire school career I didn't fit in, and every company I worked for I didn't fit in. I'm not saying I didn't have fun, but I wasn't fitting in. Like, I worked tons of shit, and I also worked as a butcher in a far past. And I mean, I had fun working there, but the persons there, when we talked, when it's quiet and you're gonna talk a bit, like, hey, what are you doing? And they were like, what are you doing? Like, I got there, I was doing LARP, and I got like the chicken carcass, so only they pulled the flesh out of it for like kip curry. And I said, can I take the chicken carcass home? And they were like, why? Well, I'm gonna bleach the bones and I'm gonna put them on a dress. And they never made fun of me or anything, but it's just they didn't understand anything I did. So I was looking for connection, and I think that's really important. And I think it's important you feel included even when you have a different brain. At school there was never any room for my brain or how it worked, and that hurts. It hurts to acknowledge that you're different, and it hurts to feel your environment not getting you every single time and not adjusting for you. So at school, they, they wouldn't adjust anything. It was just, you need to do this. And even if I didn't get it, or just I didn't work like that, there wasn't any like midway or mellowness, or like, okay, I understand you're different. Let's see if we can come together so you do understand. And that's tough. And I don't want anybody feeling like they're not good enough. They don't belong here. They should change, because you shouldn't change. You are unique and wonderful. And every single person that is having a good heart is perfect the way they are. And you should feel the love unconditionally from friends, from love is more than just a relation, right? Love is also like a boss caring about their employees, everything. So you should have unconditional love, and everybody deserves that. And that's why I try to make the most inclusive space for a convention I can. Robin again. How long before Rincon do you start planning? Well, the day after Rincon, I start for the next Rincon. Well, my family and my friends said, no, after Rincon you take a week rest. So I did that. But after that week, it's full on again. It's go, 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 go. So I plan approximately like half till 3/4 of a year for one edition. So I start really soon after the last edition. And it starts with like feedback collection and that sort of thing, and then looking and having meetings. What can we improve this time? And then you go to like the actual working on the convention. But yeah, it starts very soon after Rincon. So yeah, it's fun. I really like it. What's the best experience at Rincon for you so far? Again, from Robin. Well, I think there are multiple. One of is, there was a visitor in one of the first Rincons, I think the second one, so last year spring, and they had a rough time, and I met them, like it was 2-day con, so I met them on Saturday and I helped them out a bit, and we talked, and I met them on Sunday, and they said they feel welcome here and safe to be themselves, even when they have had troubles in their family with being accepted. And that moment when we hugged and I said, well, you're a perfect person and I love you and you're so welcome here just the way you are, that still gives me goosebumps, because that's exactly what I wanted, that people felt safe. Another one is that same person, that same group was last edition. My father passed away, and that same person I saw 2 editions ago. They came. I knew I'm going to cry. They came up to me, and they said, "I've been following Instagram, and I think you had a really rough day, or a rough time. Do you want a hug?" And the fact that somebody I don't know personally that well, I just met you on the con, and you care so much about me, that you're going to give me a hug for the hardship I have been through, and that you're there, and that really, really, really gets to me. And I think that's the reason I'm doing this. Oh, I didn't want to cry. No, okay, crying is a human emotion. That's totally fine. Okay, yes. Okay, we're back. So, yeah, that goes, this person was really on the con, but also on the internet. I got so many lovely messages from you all in my private box with, I lost my dad as well. If you ever want to talk, and that warms my heart. Thank you. Okay, no more crying. We're going back to do the questions. The last set of questions are from Dolores. It's two questions. Well, 3 actually. How do you start? And I've heard you do most of the organization alone. How? With big capitals. How do you start? Well, you just start. You start somewhere. So I started with an idea. I want to organize a convention for TTRPG. So I started by looking at what do we have in the Netherlands, vendor-wise, on TTRPG. Because if there's no vendors in the Netherlands, I can't organize a convention. So that's where I start, and from there I build it up. Like, okay, we have vendors, but what do I want on a convention? I want more than vendors because I can shop everything online at those same vendors. So that's not, I mean, it's fun to walk on a market, but that's not the key point. So I want to be able to play D&D or TTRPGs. So I need GMs, so I'm gonna look for them. I need to be able to do a workshop because I think that's useful. I didn't play D&D that long when I started Rincon. I played it for 3 months, and then I think I'm starting Rincon. So I would benefit from like a workshop. How do you create a world? How do you GM? So that's when I started looking for as well. And ow, yeah, I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I just well, this is my job. I do 2 mornings in the week. I also clean for people with a disability or like elderly people who broke their hip for something, for like a bit of social contact, because Rincon it's always here. This is my office. I'm looking at you. You're my monitor. This is my office, and it's not big. I will show you. I will show you now. Like, this is my screens, and that's my bedroom, and this is the side. So it's not that big. And I'm sitting here day in, day out, day in, day out, and I'm sitting on the computer. I'm not meeting anybody. So I wanted to a bit more social interaction and a bit more like Rincon is like this in payments. A bit more like this, so I could like easily do groceries and stuff. So I do that, and the rest of the time I'm spending here and working and how I just have a really. I stood in front of the line on the brain department with the organization overview. So I just have a really good overview in my head of what everything should be and when I should do things. And yeah, it's a lot sometimes, but it's manageable, especially with my knights who can help me and jump in, and I can like feedback the things, like brainstorm. And it's just making sure like the big things are small things. So it's not like Rincon. Now it's like, okay, I'm having the vendors, and the vendors are like under split. I don't know, vendors, and then you have like selecting them, and then the floor plan. So it's all small pieces. So you make one big piece in really small pieces, and at the end, all the pieces come together. So it's not overwhelming in the beginning. It's just I'm doing this really small piece, and then I'm doing this really small piece, and then at some point I will connect the two, and then you have a bigger piece. And the last question: how do you make sure you don't stress yourself out? Well, I don't. I don't. At some point I am sick. At some point I am done. Especially since I now know I have fibromyalgia, which I didn't know before. So it, like a ton of things make sense now, but now all the bad days make sense as well. And I don't. I can't prevent me being stressed out and being sick. That's gonna happen. Usually it's like the month after Rincon, it's the week after Rincon. I'm like, whoa, sort of deflated balloon, bleh, and I'm on the couch, and my husband and my mother do a lot of stuff, and I'm just there, not doing anything, except for cuddling with my daughter. And the month after Rincon, it's really slow. So I'm just putting things out, the feedback, and I'm sleeping a lot, and I'm doing a lot of like relaxed things. Because I can't make sure I don't stress out. It's not gonna happen. Because I know I feel fibromyalgia now, I am easier on myself, and I plan in more free days. I used to work like every day and even at nights. I am planning more free days now, and I'm taking a little bit easier on myself. But it's not how do you make sure you don't stress yourself out? It's how do you make sure you have room to be stressed out? That's fine. It's fine to be stressed out, as long as you like plan in room to be stressed out. And that's what I do. I always, and even before Rincon, I plan days that I know I'm gonna be tired and not worth anything, and I will be sleeping. The week before Rincon, it's like full on, and the week after I will crash down, and that's the way it is. But it's being aware that it's gonna happen, so and that you can work around it. For example, the week after Rincon, my mother cooks for us and everything. If she doesn't cook for us, I have pre-made meals in the freezer. So that stress is gone. No stress, no stress. So you're gonna make everything easier for yourself. So yeah, that were all the questions. We are finally done with the Q&A video. Woo! Thank you so much for the fun and nice questions, and thank you for asking them to me. Thank you all for the love, and yeah, it's holiday season almost, so I'm going to Disneyland Paris with my daughter and my husband and my friend Ben, who I met through Rincon. You see, social network is growing. And after that I'm in Italy. And next week the vendor firm is gonna close. So I'm hoping to have the vendor selection done then. And then we're gonna have a bit of a slow summer. End of the summer is gonna be the Taverns Market, of course. And the end of August is gonna be the Masters of the Wild, the nature weekend with sword fighting workshops and everything. I can't wait to see you all again. Hopefully I see some of you on the Taverns Market in Nijmegen, and I am happy, I am grateful, and I am happy to be able to do this. Rincon truly is a blessing for me as well. Thank you. Mwah! Love you. See you later.